Hi everyone, today I'm going to go through the Little Gems Early Years program with you. So let's have a look at the contents page. You can see that each lesson relates to a month of the year, beginning in September and going through to August. Let's look at the introduction for a moment. So you can see that throughout the curriculum there are some little quotes scattered along. The introduction then begins with your parent guide explaining how to set out your lessons, some helpful information on grips and writing for your young children, a supply list, and a section for your own notes. We've also got a book list. So each month of the year, there's 4 books recommended that tie in with the curriculum. And then you've got your nature alphabet and a list of all the letters for easy reference. So the first month that we start at is September. You can see another little literary quotation there. And then we're going to look at the letter A is for apple, appetizing apples, seasons. We've got a painting here to look at. We're going to look at circles, a Bible chorus, verses, sign language, acorns, counting. B is for badger, animal babies, blackberries, countryside code, some recipes, looking at body parts, different families, and then another chorus here. You've got your second Bible verse of the month, and then at the end you have things to spot in September. So a list of animals, plants, and insects, birds, things that will be around in that month that you can have a look at. So let's just have a flick through here and show you some of the different colours and some of the different topics that are covered throughout the year. As you can see, as with all our curriculum materials, we like to keep it beautiful as well as helpful and educational. So you can see so many things covered here all through the months. So what I'm going to do now is go and show you how we have used this month. So I'm starting to do this with my 4.5-year-old daughter. So I'll just zoom in here and show you the letter A. You can see some helpful information here. You've got the Irish pronunciation for apple as well. If you want to use that, you've got a poem. And then down at the bottom here, you can see the instructions for the parents. So this is what you are to do. It's just a pointers and some ideas. You don't have to follow this to the letter, and you can tweak it, you can add to it as much as you like. So you can see here, we're going to be using the apple to talk about some fractions, halves and quarters. We're going to be doing counting, getting the child to plant an apple pip in order to grow a little apple of their own. So there's a lot going on in that one page, and as I say, younger children would not probably pick up as much as an older child. On the next page we have vocabulary word, appetizing apples. So each vocabulary word begins with the same letter. Then we have the seasons, and we're looking at the seasonal year and the cycle of the seasons, pointing out to the child that the seasons are repeated in the same pattern every year, and some more activities down here to do as well. And on the next page you can see a lovely painting, which is an autumnal painting. And what we did, we looked at the painting, discussed the colours and what was happening in the painting to as much depth as you like. And you're looking at circles, relating it back to the cycle of the seasons. And then we have a Sunday school chorus, God's love is like a circle, and the sign language and actions that relate to that, and learning some more sign language, which we will learn throughout the book. So here you can see the sign for I love you. This is how you say I love you. And it's illustrated here, as well as the sign for love. Here we have a Bible verse, God is love, and younger children can just learn the verse, while older children could learn the reference as well. So those pages are what we did in 1 week. We homeschool 4 days out of the week. So this was 1 week's worth of work. Every day we revised our letter. We went back through our poem again. We looked at the seasons several times. And then we also had a book to read which tied in with that. So this is the book that we read. Seasons by Hannah Pang. And this is a really beautiful book. It's one of the books on the book list. And this book is actually a non-fiction book. Some of the books, in fact, most of the books we recommend are storybooks, fiction books, but there's also several non-fiction. So you can sort of see where this book is coming from. It's talking about how the tree here is changing through the seasons. There's lots of detail, lots of information. You can see so many beautiful nature paintings. And as with all our resources, you can grade this to your child's level. So for my daughter, we just looked at each picture and talked about how the landscape was changing and pointed out some animals or birds that she knew. For older children, you could really go into this in much more depth. So this is a book we read several times during that same week. Now, this is another resource that we provide if you want to buy it. This is our Little Gems Nature Notebook. You can see here. So there's several resources in this. You can see my daughter coloring her pumpkin. So for September, a lot of these pages are blank. They're just pages for you to draw and stick in and use as you wish. Then here towards the back is the section on the letters, revising the alphabet. You can see here she's tried to draw a little apple. That was to illustrate it, and she's been practicing her letters, so forming the letters. So that's another section for each letter of the alphabet if you want to use it. Then further along in the notebook you have the shapes. So you can see here she was drawing her circles, practicing those, and able to point out the different things as well as the section in the textbook itself. There's some scavenger hunts and all. But then here you can see her memory verse. So then she wanted to colour that in the same colour as the month. So she was using this, and we revised the memory verse several times during the week as well. So that's our nature notebook. As with all our additional resources, it's optional. You don't have to buy this. You could just use a sketchbook or scrapbook of your own. But we've been using it alongside our textbook. So then next week we'll be looking at acorns, the life cycle of acorns, doing some more counting. Then we'll go on to B for badger, and so on. So that's a month's worth of work. However, you want to divide it out yourself, and then you can see in October going on to C and so on. As I've said before, we homeschool 4 days a week. So we homeschool Monday to Thursday, and we take Friday off for errands and outings and things like that. And we do roughly about 45 minutes to an hour of formal lessons a day. We do not spend a lot of time in formal lessons, but we're always learning. We point out throughout the week lots of different things. As I've said, we studied the circle. For the rest of the week, we pointed out every time we saw a circle. We made circles. One of the things we did was make circles out of her little wooden train track. She loved doing that. We did circles out of blocks and beads, and found lots of different ways to make the circle, and pointed out the letter A. And when we said a word that began with A, we pointed it out. So constantly revising, repeating. With young children at this age, it's so important to repeat these things. I tried to do pre-K with my daughter last year, and we did little bits of it, but she wasn't ready for learning her letters. And some children would be, and she just wasn't. It wasn't going in at all, so we just stopped that. We're doing it again this year. So don't panic if your child isn't picking up everything and retaining everything. You could always repeat this next year. There's no pressure. That's the joy of homeschooling. You work to your child's schedule. You can see here at the back of the book, we've got a celebration picnic to finish off the year in August. And we're looking forward to doing that. So just to show you once again, these are the books for September. So this is the seasons. This is a beautiful little book, Tree, again about seasons. After the Storm by Nick Butterworth, looking at some of the animals in the wood. And then this lovely book, Rowan the Red Squirrel, and just looking at some of the fruit and the vegetation and the scenery of autumn. So we've tried to choose book recommendations for you that are really colourful and interesting and educational. So that is a little overview of how we use the curriculum. I hope that's helpful and gives you some ideas. As always, you can reach us on our social media, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and please do drop us a comment if you have any questions. Thanks for listening today.